Other interesting political news, Representative Shiri Thandar wants people to stop mocking him online. This is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X. And it's about 35 seconds long, but let's hear what he has to say.
But they talk about my hair. They talk about my hair. They talk about my appearance. They talk about where I was born. They talk about everything, my looks. They talk.
I mean, seriously, doesn't look that bad. I don't know if people are actually making fun of him for that or just feel self-conscious. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like his bad hair.
About my age. They talk about why I should be deported back to the country where I was born.
That sounds awkward as shit. He doesn't want to mention that country. Back to the country. Now that sounds like a robot. Back to the country I am born. Or is it just a lazy student in college trying to lengthen their essay or their speech and inserting extra words? That just sounds clumsy as hell.
To the country where I was born. They talk about my past business dealings and they distort my business record. They do everything.
At least he did suit up, so he did one thing right in his life. And that got 3.4 million views and 31,000 likes. And if you close your eyes, he does kind of sound like a South Park character. Now, the gas stove, which I was going to say, I always follow him because usually pretty interesting comments, usually contrarian. He says, quote, "Holy shit, Shari Thandar is the most dangerous Democrat in the Senate right now. If he succeeds in impeaching, I think he is the best shot for AOC's vice president VP. I'm not being hyperbolic here. Getting 56 likes and 135 comments. One of the first comments is from Woke Zombie saying, "Are you retarded?" Getting 66 likes. Total Nemesis says he's not eligible, getting 25 likes. Snowden Matthews Jr. says, "That's your dream ticket, idiot. Run," getting 28 likes. Now you also have Paul Zupa says, quote, "I noticed Thandar didn't mention the $800,000 he owes," getting 975 likes. Dildor Baggins, perhaps the cousin of Bilbo Baggins, says, quote, "Grok, can you make me a picture of him in an India scam call center?" And Grok made, a funny picture of him in the scam center, getting 633 likes. AB says, quote, "If you close your eyes, he sounds like a South Park character," getting 9.7 thousand likes in community notes. True. Now, Mr. Pitbull says, "Impeach Shri Thandar." And this is an article that says, quote, "In 2010, Shri Thandar, a Michigan Democrat, politician, and businessman, owned a pharmaceutical testing lab, Ani Clinic Preclinical Services in Oxford, New Jersey, under the parent company Pharma. When Pharma went bankrupt in April 2010, the lab was shuttered and approximately 118 beagles and 55 masking monkeys were left at the facility. Reports indicate that the former lab workers climbed fences to provide food and water for the animals as they were initially left without proper care. Animal welfare groups, including Pets Alive in New York and Defense of Animals in California, stepped in to rescue the animals. By July 4, 2010, the beagles were placed in shelters for adoption, and monkeys were later relocated to sanctuaries across the U.S. Getting 1.3 thousand likes, and talk about lack of any intelligence when closing down a facility. Forgot about the puppies? Really? That's ridiculous. Yeah, John Tucker must die. It's a picture of Grok with AI, picture of Shari in a plane. It says, "Animal abuser, piece of shit," getting 663 likes. I Love American News says no. It's a picture of him in makeup and long hair, getting 614 likes. Let's see. More articles of him with the beagles, getting 650 likes. Sarah Smith says, "Maybe if you stop acting like a clown, we'll stop treating you like one." There's him with clown makeup, getting 702 likes. Vault has another picture of him as clown, getting 282 likes. First Punch Skull says, "Not possible when he looks like this." And it's the age-old classic clip of Dave Chappelle for Chappelle Show as he's the white reporter, getting 980 likes. You see Carla Shahir Samoyed Mom says, quote, "How was he elected for that after the animal abuse, among other things?" Getting 1.2 thousand likes. I mean, he's a Democrat in Michigan. How could he not get elected? They're, on average, a pretty blue state, historically speaking. And again, a lot of people just say vote blue no matter who. And again, there's a lot of people also on the right who'll just, is it R next to that guy's name? We'll vote for him. I think there's a high propensity that happens with Democrats. That's why they have the whole chant and mantra of vote blue no matter who. But yeah, I'm not surprised he got elected. Rolling down more and more. Someone has an AI video of his hair being turned into a squirrel, getting 667 likes. That was credited to George Bella. Let's see. Also have Masculine Base says, if mockery hurts, maybe politics isn't for you. Cupcake getting 620 likes. Oh, this is the best one. Act 238 says, okay. And it's, what is it? Not Scaramanga, but the midget from James Bond, I believe is Dr. No. And he looks suspiciously like the politician getting 145 likes. So close. A lot of people comparing him to Jimmy Kimmel. Granted, they're probably both equally insufferable in terms of mentality. They don't look that similar. But yeah, politician. It's probably a politician crying about being made fun of. I mean, inherently, you're going to be made fun of if you're in politics. I mean, that's just, I don't want to say half the job, but have a big side effect of it. So again, the smart thing would be to do like JD Vance and just lean into the meme. Actually, it doesn't bother you. Just kind of roll with it, and actually, well, I kind of think works in your favor. And a lot of people appreciate self-deprecating humor. A lot of people find it funny, and it shows you're not a sociopath. I would argue, but yeah, telling people this annoys you just guarantees the internet is going to feel more of it. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Polaris recalling more of their recreation off-road vehicles that cost quite a pretty penny. That's brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, which is perhaps the only useful government website. Granted, that bar is pretty low, in which they say, quote, Polaris Industries recalls Ranger XP1000 North Star and Ranger XP1000 North Star Crew recreation off-road vehicle due to a injury hazard. And at least they look pretty cool. Although granted, for that price point, they darn better look like something out of Halo or something. Now, they say, whoopsies, there's a hazard. Now, they say this recall involves certain VIN models of Polaris, model year 2023 to 2025. The recall vehicles were sold in black, blue, brown, camouflage, gray, orange, red, tan, and white. They're sold in a 3 and 6 seat configuration, have Polaris stamped on the front grille. The VIN is printed on the left rear frame on the driver's side under the cargo box. Now, the hazard is, I'm not sure who's in charge of making these, perhaps they're inebriated. They say, quote, the lower seat belt anchor fasteners were not properly tightened, which can result in the seat belt separating from the vehicle frame, failing to protect riders. And they clarify, thanks government, without that protection, riders can be ejected from the vehicle to crash, posing perhaps an injury hazard. No duh, but again, it's government speak. It's got to be bland, boring, and overly comical. Now, this affected about 640 units, in addition to about 24 that were sold in Canada. And looks like they have a repair remedy for this, thankfully. Now, they say consumers should immediately stop using the recalled vehicles and schedule an appointment with a Polaris dealer to schedule a free inspection and repair at the dealer's location. They advise that consumers may continue to operate the vehicles prior to the repair only if the conduct of the inspection is followed by seatbelt fastener verification instructions located on the firm's website. To continue operating the recalled rows prior to getting recalled, fasteners must be secure where the belt is anchored to the vehicle frame. Polaris has contacted registered vehicle owners directly. Now, thankfully, no one's been injured from this. So no one's passed away. There hasn't been too many injuries. Now, they did note that the firm identified 2 vehicles with loose seatbelt fasteners, but again, no injuries or deaths were reported. So it's good they got ahead of the situation. Now, personally, I'd be pretty irate. I'm kind of a frugal guy in general. And I say I'd be irate because these are a pretty penny. These are sold at dealers nationwide from April 2022 to March 2025 for between $28,000 and $38,000 for these vehicles. Which, again, that's actually more expensive than, I was going to say more expensive than my car. My car is used. It's more expensive than a new Honda Civic SI or a used Honda Civic Type R. Again, getting $38,000, great bang for your buck. But you're spending more than the price of a car, and they didn't attach the one safety thing in this thingamajig. Now, granted, I know a lot of these are probably driven slow on farms. Not all of them are used for off-roading and, going mudding, so to say. And it's nice that, it's made in the USA. Well, debatably, it's made in Minnesota, but yeah, I gotta say, having a vehicle that costs between $28,000 and $38,000 and having something like a loose fastener that's also related to safety, gotta say, Polaris, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 5,000 select drivers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.